This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. It's Wednesday, March 9th, 2022. A quick note up front here, I will be driving down to Missouri to help my parents pack up and move, and in order to focus on that, I won't be bringing any of my work equipment with me, so I will be taking the rest of the week off. Sorry about that. That said, I will be back as usual next Monday. Let's talk about the news. From Axios, Russia invasion of Ukraine. In today's summary, the US and UK have announced they'll be phasing out Russian oil imports. A senior US defense official said that Russia has now deployed all or nearly all of the forces it pre-staged at Ukraine's borders leading up to the invasion. Russia has threatened to cut off gas traveling across its Nord Stream 1 pipeline to Europe, which could lead to increased prices and gas shortages on the continent. Crypto platform Coinbase has blocked over 25,000 crypto trading addresses linked to illegal Russian activity and shared those addresses with the US government to support sanctions enforcement. About 2 million people have fled Ukraine as refugees, and Israeli officials have said that ceasefire talks they are mediating are at a critical juncture, implying that some kind of softening in the conflict might be forthcoming, but without providing specifics or guarantees. Some governments are beginning to make tough choices related to energy imports from Russia, knowing it will raise prices at home, but encouraged by polls showing that people are generally willing to accept higher prices at the pump to support Ukraine. And as has been the case for several days, there are indications that sanctions might be having an effect on the Russian economy, but nothing dramatic enough to force Putin's hand quite yet. From The Guardian, Amazon rainforest tipping point is looming, data shows. A new statistical analysis shows that about 75% of the Amazon rainforest has become unstable since the early 2000s, which means it is less able to recover from things like drought and wildfires, and consequently is more prone to unsalvageable destruction. The researchers behind this study didn't give a date as to when they thought the rainforest might fully tip into a destruction phase if its current course continues, converting into grassland over the course of a few decades and releasing a staggering amount of CO2 into the atmosphere as a consequence. But they did say by the time we're able to detect that happening, it would be too late to do anything about it. So it might be prudent to shore up this natural resource before it begins that transition. And from Bloomberg, COVID can shrink the brain as much as a decade of aging, study finds. A new study has shown that even mild cases of COVID-19 can lead to a type of brain damage that shrinks brain regions related to smell, and which looks similar to how a brain ages over the course of a decade. This is part of a larger body of research looking into the long-term impacts of COVID, especially on the body's central nervous system. And the news hasn't been great, as although some people seem to emerge from an infection relatively unscathed, others will face long-lasting and maybe even lifelong damage that frequently seems to manifest as cardiovascular issues or neurological complications. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.